All right, let's jump right in. We're about to take a trip, and I mean a long trip, back in time, like 5,000 years back, to explore a civilization so ridiculously advanced, its city planning could honestly put some of ours to shame. We are talking about the incredible Harappan civilization.
So right on the banks of the Indus River, this unbelievably sophisticated culture just bloomed. You might know it as the Indus Valley or Harappan civilization, and it left behind these stunning cities like Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro. But these weren't just a handful of huts that grew over time. No. These were some of the world's very first, and you could argue finest, examples of meticulous urban planning.
And that really brings us to the big question for this whole explainer. I mean, what if a city that existed millennia ago was actually built on a blueprint for the future? It sounds crazy, but as you're about to see, their design choices were anything but primitive.
So here's our game plan for this journey of discovery. First, we're going to look at their incredible master plan. Then, we'll dive into the secrets of their public and private spaces. After that, we'll get to their mind-blowing engineering, and we'll wrap up with the great mystery they left for us to solve.
Okay, first stop, the master plan. When you look at the remains of Harappan cities, you see a society that was just obsessed with order. This wasn't chaos. This was a city built with intention, with a blueprint, showing this unbelievable foresight.
And this is where it gets really wild. See, most ancient cities just kind of happened. They grew organically into this tangled mess of winding streets. But the Harappans? Nope. They laid out their cities on a strict grid. Roads ran north to south and east to west, and get this, they intersected at perfect right angles. This carved up the city into these neat, organized blocks. It's kind of like looking at a map of modern-day Manhattan.
So, they had this amazing grid, but how did people actually live in it? Well, Harappan cities were usually split into two very distinct parts, and we're going to start at the top, both literally and figuratively.
Welcome to the Citadel. This structure was built on a high and mighty mound in the western part of the city. Think of it as the administrative and ritualistic heart of the whole operation. It had all the important public buildings and was most likely where the rulers and the aristocracy lived.
Right, so this was the nerve center. Archaeologists have found these massive granaries, which were so smartly designed with raised platforms and air ducts to keep grain safe from pests. There are big pillared halls and courtyards. But here's what's really fascinating. Unlike in ancient Egypt or Mesopotamia, you don't find these giant, flashy temples or palaces for kings. It suggests their power was shown through public works and amazing organization, not, building giant statues of themselves. It hints at a totally different kind of society.
And a perfect example of this focus on public ritual is the Great Bath of Mohenjo-Daro. It's the most famous building in the Citadel, and for good reason. This massive, watertight pool was almost certainly used for important purification ceremonies, which tells you that ritual was at the very heart of their society.
So that's the elite up on the hill. But what about everybody else? Let's head down from the public world of the Citadel into the lower town, which is where the vast majority of people actually lived and worked.
So here's the layout, side by side. The lower town, over to the east, was the main residential hub, and archaeologists have found everything there, from little one-room homes for the working class to much bigger two-story houses. And here's the incredible part. Almost every building had its own private well and its own bathroom. Think about that. This was a society that valued hygiene for everyone, not just the rich folks in the Citadel.
And that brings us to what is, I think, without a doubt, the most stunning achievement of the Harappan civilization. It's not some grand monument or a palace. It's something way more practical and, honestly, revolutionary: their sanitation system.
I mean, just look at this process. Every single house, let me say that again, every house was connected to a citywide drainage network. Little drains from the bathrooms flowed into bigger, covered drains running along the main streets. They even had inspection holes and little cesspits for cleaning. This is basically a citywide public health initiative designed to fight disease thousands of years ahead of its time. Their focus on hygiene was just on another level.
Now, if you still have any doubts about just how good their engineers were, it all comes down to a single powerful number: 0. What on earth could that mean?
That's the number of cracks or leaks found in the Great Bath. After 5 millennia, 5,000 years, the construction is still so perfect that it's watertight. That one fact alone tells you everything you need to know about the incredible skill of Harappan engineers. It's just astounding. So, they left behind sculptures, incredible pottery, and these awe-inspiring cities. We can see how they lived. but we're still left with this one final, profound mystery that keeps us from truly knowing who they were.
You see, they had a written language. In fact, the Harappan script is the oldest one we know of in the entire Indian subcontinent. We found thousands of examples of it on little seals and tablets. The problem? No one has ever been able to read it. It remains a complete and total mystery.
And that's really where we have to leave it. A civilization of master builders, meticulous engineers, and talented artists who created the society of unparalleled order and hygiene. They left behind a blueprint for how to build a city, and a story written in a language we still can't understand. What secrets are still locked away in those ancient symbols? What were they trying to tell us?